This review is way long overdue because I have reviewed L'Homme Ideal Sport and L'Homme Ideal Le Intense, even though L'Homme Ideal Eau de Parfum was my first one. So let's finally go ahead and review the EDP. Hey, what's going on guys? Hunter here and welcome back to my channel. And if you are new, what I do is I make fragrance related content. So if you love fragrances, go to smash the subscribe button down below. But that's correct guys, we're gonna be reviewing Guerlain's L'Homme Ideal Eau de Parfum. Now with this fragrance, like I said, this is actually my first Guerlain and one of my first niche fragrances in general. And to let you guys know, I do consider Guerlain to be a niche company. They have been around over 100 years. And all they make is fragrances and cosmetics, just like most niche companies do. So yes, Guerlain is niche, even though you can get them pretty affordable, which is nice, especially for the quality you're getting. But like I said, the EDP was my first Guerlain and one of my first niche and one of my first fragrances in general in my collection. And this pretty much introduced me to the niche world and how fragrances can smell and stuff like that. And when I first smelled this, to let you guys know, I was pretty much shocked. So let's go over some information about L'Homme Ideal Eau de Parfum. Now, L'Homme Ideal Eau de Parfum was launched in 2016. There was actually two perfumers behind this fragrance, Delphine Jelk and of course in-house perfumer Terry Walser. I'm honestly not really familiar with Delphine, but I do know Terry Walser and he has made some phenomenal creations for Guerlain. As far as retail goes for this fragrance, I believe it retails around like 120 bucks, just like all the other L'Homme Ideals from the line. And surprising, this fragrance has never been discontinued. Now, Guerlain usually discontinues the flankers behind these, like cologne, cool, things like that, because what they do with this line is they have a fresh summer fragrance, and then the next year they do a darker fragrance, and then etc. for years, pretty much. They're still doing that. And also what's interesting that just pretty much got announced is Guerlain is moving pretty much all of their masculine fragrances into these bottles, like vetiver, homme, Habit Rouge. All of those fragrances are now going to be in this bottle here, which actually these bottles are actually fantastic. I do prefer these bottles over the like vetiver bottles they have now, which just feel a little bit more cheaper. They're really light, the caps, everything like that. And these bottles have a lot of attention to detail, which we'll look at now in the packaging and presentation. Now for the box, it is kind of like a generic, cheaper cardboard box. On the top, you of course have the Guerlain logo. On the front, Guerlain pairs with your fragrance. It is an Eau de Parfum concentration, of course, 100 ml bottle. On the back, just some information and ingredients, but it does say the ideal man is a myth, his fragrance a reality. And then of course, on the bottom, you do have your batch code and barcode to authenticate your product and see when your product was produced. Now for the bottle, I think this is where it absolutely shines when it comes to nice production and quality. On the top, of course, you have the Guerlain logo pretty much engraved. It's just a nice actually cap. It does actually have the Guerlain logo inside the cap as well. And on top of the atomizer, so the attention to detail is fantastic. It does click into place, which is nice. On the top, on the front, you do have the sticker. On the bottom, another sticker with your batch code as well, which mine is 9K01. And then nothing on the back there, but a very heavy, solid bottle. So on the top, you do have almond, spices, lavender, bergamot, rosemary, and thyme. In the middle notes, you have cherry, vanilla, incense, and rose. In the base, you have leather, tonka bean, and sandalwood. Now, that is actually a pretty nice, solid note breakdown with a bunch of different kind of qualities to the notes. You have some gourmands, you obviously have some barbershop fougères, stuff like that. So let's go ahead and spray this fragrance, and I'll tell you what I pretty much get. Now, check out the atomizer of Guerlain, guys. Very nice. Look at that solid projection, solid mist, and it is actually pressurized, which is good. Now I actually did spray my hand because I am wearing a long sleeve and I actually ran out of test strips. Unfortunately, I need to get some more, but let's see what we get in that opening. So in the opening of L'Homme Ideal Eau de Parfum, I do get some lavender in there and a little bit of spiciness as well. Now the lavender is not like your traditional kind of barbershop fougère kind of lavender. It just comes across kind of maybe a little bit soapy, a little bit clean. And also get like a nice sharp bergamot in the opening, but those notes do not last that long. Besides the spiciness does pretty much carry throughout the life of the fragrance, but the lavender and bergamot is short-lived in this. Alongside those notes though, you do have the signature touch to all of the L'Homme Ideal line, which is almond. It's used in every single fragrance from this line. That's how you kind of know it is the L'Homme Ideal. It does have that signature touch. Which the almond is very dominant in this fragrance. It comes across a little bit nutty, very gourmand, and a little bit creamy as well, like almonds can tend to do. But all in all, man, that opening is so good. Like I said, this was kind of my introduction to niche fragrances. It was one of my first in my collection. And I was like, wow, okay, so fragrances can smell like this. Fragrances can be this smooth, this kind of complex. Now, as the fragrance does dry down, that's when the cherry comes through. It's a very nice, sour, kind of authentic cherry note. And the cherry is actually the main player behind this fragrance in general. This is what it's known for. It's known for being a cherry-based fragrance. It's kind of similar to the cherry you find in Tom Ford's Lost Cherry. That cherry in there is much more like a boozy, a little bit more like wet cherry in Lost Cherry compared to this one. This does come across a little bit more sour to me. But yeah, a little bit spicy, very creamy. You also have the cherry, you have you have vanilla as well, which works perfect alongside the almond. So you have like cherry, almond, and vanilla. And how I would describe this fragrance, it does kind of smell like a cherry pie to me, like a cherry dessert. That's what I get because obviously the vanilla, the almonds, and the cherry. Very, very gourmand as well. Now, when you get further into the dry down is when the incense comes through. Now, it's not like a very smoky, dominant incense like you would find in the Le Intense, which is a much more smoky, leathery version of this fragrance with no cherry. But you do pick up on some incense in the dry down if you're pretty much looking for it and digging for it in the notes. Alongside the incense, you do have a nice creamy sandalwood, a little bit of a tonka bean note, and that leather, which pretty much rounds it off. Makes it a little bit more masculine, especially in the dry down of this. So it is a pretty complex fragrance from the top all the way to the dry down. Now, the vanilla, the almond, and the cherry pretty much last the entire life of this fragrance, especially once you get past the lavender, the bergamot, and the rose in here. The rose, I wouldn't say I pick up on it that much either. Kind of like the incense. If you're digging for like a nice kind of jammy rose, you can find it. But if you're just smelling it or smelling in the air, it does not smell like a rose-based fragrance by any means. This fragrance pretty much comes across very sophisticated, very professional. And how I would actually wear this one or what it's best suited for, absolutely the colder months like fall and winter, because it is creamy, it is sour, a little bit almondy and gourmand, and somewhat spicy as well. So it works best in the colder months rather than like spring and summer. Even though you may be able to pull it off on those months, like if you're going on a date and stuff in the evening time when it's starting to cool down a little bit, it will work perfect for that. But it's more of like a dressed up fragrance, a little bit more like if you're in the office, like dressed up for work, or if you're going to church. It is also kind of a sexy fragrance because of that nice sour, luscious cherry note in here alongside the vanilla. So I can definitely see this being a good date night fragrance, especially if you're looking to leave an impression on a woman. This is a great fragrance for that. Now, as far as age groups go for L'Homme Ideal Eau de Parfum, honestly, this does work pretty much for all ages. It's nothing mature about this fragrance, nothing very juvenile about it either. It's just a very nice, crowd-pleasing, gourmand, creamy cherry fragrance that will work for anybody of any age. Yeah, I can definitely see someone maybe wearing this one in high school, and someone wearing this one if you're in your 30s going to work. It just works, guys. It's a very versatile fragrance when it comes to age groups. Now, to touch on performance of L'Homme Ideal Eau de Parfum, to be honest with you, it's not a beast mode fragrance by any means. It does sit a little bit closer to the skin, which I think it's pretty much meant to be, guys. Like I said, it's more of a professional fragrance. It's not gonna be like the fragrance you're gonna want to wear to a club that is very strong. It projects 10 feet away from you, fills up a room. It's not that kind of fragrance, guys. It's like I said, it's more of a professional, elegant, luxurious, rich smelling fragrance, and that's why the performance is not the best. It does last a very long time, easily around like 8 hours or so, but the performance as far as projection and CRs go, it's not the best. It's about average from my testing at least. If you were looking for that from the line, definitely check out Le Intense. That one does project a lot better than this one. Even though in my personal opinion, I do prefer this flanker over all of the other ones that I've tested. This is by far my favorite. So for me, it's not that big of a deal because I'm not gonna use this fragrance to blow out rooms. I'm gonna use it for more intimate kind of scenarios and for like work and stuff. Now, Guerlain L'Homme Idéal Eau de Parfum, even though the projection is not the best, when you do walk by someone, they will pick up on it. And for me, I've gotten many compliments from this fragrance saying, wow, you smell delicious. That's pretty much what their go-to saying is with this one, because it does smell delicious. Almost like a fragrance you can pretty much eat, even though do not do that. It just is a very authentic kind of gourmand fragrance. Very sexy, very delicious. But that's pretty much gonna wrap up my review of Guerlain L'Homme's Idéal Eau de Parfum. Let me know down below if you've tried this one or any of the other flankers. I know they have like Extreme. Obviously they have Cologne, which is beloved. They have Cool, they have Sport, which I own, the Intense. There's just so many of these fragrances out there, guys. But the EDP is my favorite so far from what I've tested. So that's gonna wrap it up. Leave a like on the video if you did enjoy it. Subscribe down below if you haven't already. And I'll catch all you guys in the next upload. Take care, everybody.